Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
Wow, what a beautiful week of weather we've had. It's incredible to think it's November. Are you wondering if your plants still need care? Julio and I will tell you what you need to know in our first segment.
Do you own a pond or water garden? We'll tell you what to do to winterize it in our second segment.
Caroline called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and told us about her beautiful gardenia growing outdoors. Listen to her call and our response in our third segment.
Our buddy Harold from Staten Island called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline and has a snowy question about his large arborvitae. We'll tell you all about it in our fourth segment.
And from Morris Plains called the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. And you can too. Listen for that number. She had a question about a dogwood tree. We'll share her call with you in our final segment.
So stay tuned and join us in the garden right after these messages. Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilum's azalea and evergreen food plus systemic insecticide 915-3 contains 5 micronutrients which are designed for azaleas and evergreens to provide the proper nutrients and producing stunning green leaves and essential new growth while protecting the plant from damaging insects for up to 8 weeks. Fertilum's azalea and evergreen food contains 9% nitrogen for green growth, building bigger stems and leaves, 15% phosphorus for root growth and increased flower production, 13% potash to promote vigorous growth so plants are better able to resist disease and cold. The micronutrients are the icing on the cake to enhance further growth, strengthen, and beautify color. Tired of seeing your plants prematurely drop their leaves, the flowers disappear? Fertilum's Azalea Evergreen Food plus Systemic Insecticide 915-13 contains an easy-to-apply insecticide that keeps your azaleas and evergreens looking great all year long. Those hungry insects do not have a chance. Apply in spring before buds sprout and continue throughout the season as indicated on the label growing guide. Fertilum's Azalea and Evergreen Food plus Systemic Insecticide 915-13 with micronutrients is a must for the passionate azalea and evergreen grower to help produce that beautiful abundance of color and fantastic fragrance everyone will love. So next time you visit your favorite garden center, pick up Fertilum's Azalea and Evergreen Food plus Systemic and expect to have the best looking shrubs in the neighborhood. Neighbors Garden Center, Main Street, Hellertown, PA. Rhodes Garden, Delcab Pike, North Wales, Pennsylvania. Rourke Farm Supply, Elmer, New Jersey. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome, everybody, to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, the leaves are falling right now from the trees, and some deciduous plants are bare. Oh, my goodness. Are they dormant, Len, or are they just deciduous?
Just deciduous. Oh. It's all about the roots.
That's right.
It's all about the roots.
All about the roots.
Look, just because the leaves are off doesn't mean that they've stopped growing. Mm-hmm. It's going to take a really, really cold snap in the 20s to make a difference, and that we're going to need to get solid freezing of the soil, and then they go dormant. But at this point, those roots are growing like crazy.
Oh, you can imagine.
Growing like crazy. and look, we're in mid-70s today. Yes. Tomorrow, all weekend.
Right. November. It's November what?
I don't know. I don't know. Are you sure it's not August?
No.
But
get your shorts out.
No rain.
Yeah.
No rain in the forecast.
Yeah, that's right.
So what happens is that your plant is still growing underneath, and if it doesn't get any water, the roots get damaged, and there's a whole bunch of things that will happen. How many times do we talk about winter burn?
Oh, my gosh.
If your plants are going into winter with no water reserves inside the plant, it's going to get winter burn. Yeah. And that it's really important that you go and water your plants. Now, I know that we saw it here at the studios. They're blowing out, everybody's blowing out their sprinklers. They're blowing out their sprinklers. I got to blow out my sprinklers. They're going to freeze and crack. And yes, they will. But you need to water. So what do you do? What do you do? You know what? I forgot to mention.
What's that?
We talk about winter burn.
Right.
But how many times in spring do you have, it's like, my dogwood never bloomed.
Oh, yeah.
My lilacs never bloomed.
Never bloomed.
My hydrangea never bloomed. All of those plants right now have no leaves.
That's right.
And that if they're dry, when they try to push out growth coming in the spring,
oh boy,
it doesn't push out any growth.
Nothing
or all of the dogwoods, their buds are right now on the ends of the branches, and that they've been formed. We talk about old wood and new wood, right?
Sure.
Old wood flowering plants have those flowers established on them now.
Already, yeah.
Azaleas,
yeah.
Evergreen, but if you trim those azaleas now, you're cutting off all the flowers.
Yeah.
So again, the same thing can happen because the roots are damaged because they didn't get adequate moisture going into the winter.
Going up, yeah.
Right? So just keep all of that in mind.
Keep that in mind, yeah.
And hydrangeas, it's all about the old wood.
The old wood, yeah.
Old wood is going to have the spectacular bloom that everybody loves to see. And if there's not enough water, they're going to shrivel from the tips,
dry up,
and they're not going to get what they need to form those flowers.
Right. So how important is watering, huh, Len?
Extremely important.
Extremely,
but what do you do if your sprinklers are blown out?
Oh my gosh.
All right, Julio.
Yes, sir.
I remember you had a leak on your spigot of your house, right?
Yeah, I did.
You had a leak.
Oh my goodness.
Julio is the example often. Now,
right.
Where is the spigot, the shutoff for that spigot?
That is in my house.
Right.
Yes.
Do you have a little tab that you unscrew, right?
Yeah.
A bleeder?
A bleeder, yeah.
A bleeder? All right, folks, this is how you do it. You hook up your hose and you go out and you water your plants. Then, when you're done watering your plants, you disconnect it from the spigot. And this is an extra step, okay? We know, but look, you want your plants to be nice?
That's right.
Your plants are so beautiful. How do you do it? I'm not telling you because then your plants will be nice, but we're going to tell you.
Yeah, we can tell you.
What you need to do is you disconnect the hose after you've watered your plants, and you get all of the water out of your hose so that way if we get a surprise cold snap that you don't ruin the hose. And then you turn the spigot off. It's going to be off, obviously. You disconnect the hose there, and then you go into your basement. And that little bleeder thing is real easy. It's not. Can you hand do it, or do you get a wrench?
You can do it.
So you just get a hand, and you have to disconnect the hose, because if you don't disconnect the hose, you're creating a siphon that you're emptying the entire hose out through that little bleeder. And you better get a big bucket because all of the water from the hose is going to get sucked into that. So you need to unhook your hose first. Just go ahead and lift up your hose and empty it out and then coil it up. right?
Right.
And just keep it there to use and just do it that way. So we're going to keep bleeding your spigot. I know. PIA. What does that stand for, Julio?
I don't know.
I'm
Missing
not-
an action.
You're such a good boy.
I don't know.
Anyway, and just let's say it's a pain.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Are you willing to do that, Julio?
Willing
As I
to do all
fall
that
off
work?
my chair?
Oh, I know.
If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe.
Yeah.
I just, I got a little shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, are you going to do that, Julio? 'Cause
Yes, I am.
very good. Good answer.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer. I feel like,
I remember that show.
yeah. Anyway, look, if it's been dry.
Oh, it has.
It's been dry. We always talk. Remember that 5 inches of rain?
Oh, yeah. What
Yeah, that's
happened to it?
gone.
Yeah.
That's gone.
That's right.
If you have a tree that you've just planted or was planted in the spring, you're still going to want to water that too because that needs water as well.
Right. Yep.
Explain what a gator bag is.
A gator bag is like it's a bag, and it's it's a bag that has tiny little holes that are in there that have been placed in there, by machine, I guess, and you fill it up with water. It's a bag that you fill up with water, and you put it around your tree, and basically it'll take about 8 hours for it to drain out through these tiny little holes. So it's a slow process of getting all that water
Like
down into the
portable
roots.
drip irrigation.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's a great system. You don't have to worry about taking your hose out and
Right.
watering it, and so it's easy. I mean,
It's easy. And that's it. I'd consider getting those, especially if you have a tree between the sidewalk and the curb. Absolutely.
Yep.
But again, all of your plants are going to need water, and that you can stop watering when the ground freezes. So when you walk out and there's a bare piece of soil there, and you walk on it and it crunches,
crunches. Yeah,
you're done. You don't have to water anymore.
That's great.
All right. And then you're done. Tree is going to go totally dormant. But right now, underneath the ground, things are happening. Perennials especially.
Oh, yeah.
Today, I went over to Bloomers and turned the irrigation on at 6:30 this morning.
Boy, you got up early.
Because we needed to get our plants watered. There were a lot of our deciduous plants have no foliage on them. Things like spirea and Rosa Sharon. Hydrangeas are almost done.
Yeah.
A lot of plants. Some have just berries. And for instance, if you have winter berries are going to shrivel up if the root system shrivels up without any water. So we don't want that because we want to show them off as long as the birds will let them there. So again, you want to go and water your plants. Don't be fooled just because they have no leaves that you're done. I'm sorry to say, your plants will be better in the spring if you water now. So you're doing it now for the spring.
Yep.
So,
Prevention. Yeah, we're preventing problems in the spring, right, Len?
Right. And especially new plants.
Yeah.
The roots are growing, so they're going to attach to your soil, and they're going to be a lot better.
Yes, they need to establish themselves.
That's right. Anything to add, Hul?
No, I think we hit that really well.
Yeah. All right. Nailed it. All right. Going to break. We'll be right back right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor organic potting soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend organic potting soil is available at these local retailers.
Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania. Ashcombe Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Tony's Farm and Garden, Windsor, New Jersey.
Fall is for planting. Visit Bloomer's Nursery and let one of Bloomer's nurserymen help you lay out your next landscape project. Bloomer's has the finest selection of fall flowers. Hardy mums in multiple sizes, celosia, coxcomb, winter pansies, ornamental peppers, ornamental kale and cabbage, and all types of grasses. Bloomer's has a frightening large selection of face pumpkins, flat stacking pumpkins, gourds, and fall decorating items. Come visit Bloomers, the store behind the radio program, open 7 days. Go to www.bloomers.com. That's www.bloomers.com. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB, and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Hey, do you have a pond?
Oh.
Do you still have your pond, Julio?
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you pay attention to it, or is it like
No, I don't pay attention.
It's like a boat where it's a hole in the water where you just put money in?
Yeah, that's it. That's number 2. I got that.
You got that? That's a joke, everybody. Anyway, a pond is much cheaper than a boat.
It is.
But listen, if you have a pond or a water garden, there's some things that you need to do before the temperatures go to freezing.
Yeah. Now's a good time.
That's right. First of all, we're actually on the late side. Have you changed what you're feeding your fish? Yeah. As soon as that water temperature starts to drop, you're going to start feeding your fish a type of food that's heavy in wheat germ, and it'll say it right on. And that it will say cold weather formula. Right. And the best part of that is that you don't just do it in the fall. It's the same thing coming out of the spring in the spring, early spring. So you're going to start doing that in March. I also don't suggest feeding your fish a lot, but just something to keep them to nibble on. I like turning fish into scavengers because basically that's what koi are, and let them help you clean up that algae along the sides. Yeah, anyway, that's another show. Yeah. First thing. You have that expensive UV sterilizer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It's cool. Look at me. Really. I got no algae. Yeah. And what you need to do is that you need to remove it. You need to clean it. And every 2 years, you need to replace the bulb.
That's right. Even though it's lit.
Well, yeah, exactly. What happens is, like, you ever see cars along, like you're passing a car and all of a sudden, like, you've got the guy's lights are so bright, and then all of a sudden a car comes, you can barely tell the lights are on.
Yep.
That's your UV.
That's UV. That's right.
So your UV isn't working.
No, that's it.
And that, again, the way that a UV works is that water and floating algae go and pass through, and the light will kill off the algae. But one trick, it is better if the water is moving slower. That's number one. And number two, if your light is replaced every 2 years, then you get the most out of it. You know, a lot of people we have is like, oh, it doesn't work. Oh, UV doesn't work. It's like, how long have you had it? 10 years? You ever change a bulb? No. All right. So change your bulb now, so that way when you put it back in the spring,
it'll work.
And why do I have to take my UV out?
because it'll crack if you don't.
That's right. The whole flood is banding, freezing. Yeah, it'll crack, and then you'll have to replace everything, not just the bulb.
Yep.
And you want to clean your UV. You just put bleach in it, shake it back and forth, try to clean up because it's the quartz sleeve that's in there, and that they are removable. That you want to clean because then it's like your windows. If your windows are like Julio's car, you can't see out of them unless you clean them. So that's what you need to do. I suggest where the water is coming into the UV, that now that you're taking everything apart, would you please put a valve there and a T so that you can bypass the UV. They're going to put 2 valves that will shut it off, and that you'll have a bypass that will feed into it. So again, it's very simple. We would love to hear from you. If you do not have a T or a valve that shuts down, we can explain to you what to do. It's really pretty easy. But the idea is that times like this, where you still want to run your pond, you can, but you just are bypassing the UV, so you've got to have a shutoff. It's pretty simple.
Yeah,
pretty simple. Now, the leaves are coming down. I mean, we are probably about 2 or 3 weeks late on some things here. Yeah. One, it's you want to add Microblift Autumn Prep. Mm-hmm. Microblift is a brand. Autumn Prep is what the product is called, and Julio is holding it up, just like Vanna White. I don't think Vanna White does it. Anyway, she just turns letters. Okay. She's still around. Still around. Looks good from a distance. Oh, yeah? Sorry, Vanna. That Microblift Autumn Prep, okay, I've said it before. A pond is a septic system.
It is.
You have organic matter and solids. We all know what solids are.
Organic matter.
That's right. It's organic matter. And what happens is that builds up, and bacteria basically eats it away and reduces the impact of the organic waste. Those of you that have grandchildren and want to, feed the fish because it's so great, and you wonder why your fish are gasping at the top, look. Only when the grandkids come over, and just let them throw 1 pellet at a time in. Because, again, that organic matter gets into your pond and you have ammonia issues. Now, what will happen is Autumn Prep will go and break down that so that you don't have that organic sludge that's in the bottom of your pond in the spring. So make sure you absolutely do that.
Right.
Another thing.
Yep.
Pond heater.
Oh, wait a minute. Go back a little bit.
Whoops. Go ahead.
It also helps with have healthier fish for their immune system.
Why? How does it do that?
I have no idea.
Just because that's what the box says.
Well, no, because it has biological good bacteria in there. That's why. It has
Well, that's what breaks down the waste.
Breaks down the waste, yeah. But
and what Julio's getting at, it goes back to the ammonia thing. If it breaks down that debris,
stuff,
you're not going to have issues with your fish getting sick from toxic ammonia.
Right.
Now, that leads right into our next thing, which is you need to get a pond heater. Now, look, a pond heater is not to make it like the hot tub at the Jamaican resort that you were at. What it is, it's just to kind of make a chimney, because a pond heater just creates a hole in the ice. So those gases, and like Julio was just talking about, where the ammonia builds up underneath the ice, if you don't have a way for that ice, for the ammonia to escape, and it makes a solid cover over your pond, you're going to kill your fish. So you need a place for that to escape. And what we recommend is a pond heater, or you can use an aerator, but you've got to make sure that it's on. Now, you can go either way. Aeration does things to help your pond and your fish. A pond heater will help with your electric bill. And the reason I say that is because it has a thermostat built into it. It only will go on when your
It's
pond
frozen.
water is at the point of freezing, so it doesn't stay on all the time. But I guess if you put a pond heater in and you got a bubbler in, hey, hot tub.
Yeah, hot tub. Is that what you want?
That's not what you want. You just want to create a way for the gases to escape. Very, very important.
Right.
And the thing that I feel bad because we should have told everybody sooner, you need to put a net
Over it, yeah.
over your pond to catch those falling leaves. That is what also is going to build on the bottom of your pond. If it makes you feel any better, I didn't do mine yet either. So I have a nice collection of willow oak leaves that are going to be in the bottom of my
gosh.
pond, and that my microblift autumn prep will be breaking that down. So again, you need to make sure you address these things. Your UV, you don't want to ruin your UV, so you got to pull that out. You need to, and I did forget one thing, cut back your plants.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Right? The tops of the plants are growing, cut it
like
back
crazy.
because they're just going to become, again, more organic matter. Think septic.
Yep.
Think septic. Any of you that have had a septic tank, you know what I'm speaking of.
That's right.
You know, again, you're trying to eliminate as much organic matter into your pond so that you don't have ammonia, and you are eliminating algae problems for next year.
That's right.
All right.
Beautiful.
Dig it?
Yeah, I'm digging it.
Hey, if you've got questions, and again, if you want to talk to us about how to create a bypass for your UV, give us a call. Call the hotline at 609-685-1880.
And you'll see all these products at your garden center. Your local garden center has microblift in there. They should.
They should. Most of them will have that. They'll have pond heaters.
That's right.
And even the most basic pond departments will have that. So it's just something that's essential this time of the year. All right. We'll be right back right after this break. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. Green Acres Nursery and Garden Center, West County Line Road, Colmar, Pennsylvania. Urban's Garden Center, Chestnut Street, Emmis, Pennsylvania. Laurel Oak Garden Center, Thompson Mill Road, Marlton, New Jersey. You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back, everybody, to Bloomers in the Garden. Caroline, one of our great friends out there, she's been listening to us for quite a while. Thank you, Carolyn. She called Bloomers in the Garden hotline and has a question about her gardenia growing in her landscape. Listen to her call.
Hi, Len. My name is Carolyn. I've called you over the last few years about 3 or 4 times regarding plants. I have this gardenia that plant in my front. I got it from when it was first tiny, and you said it may or may not survive, and it has for the last 3 years. And I wanted to know how to keep it healthy. Right now, it's growing nice. I had beautiful blooms all during the season, and the smell is wonderful. And I wanted to know how about trimming it. It has grown now to maybe about 3 feet tall. And I want to, maintain it. Please let me know. Thank you.
Wow. She's doing good, huh?
3 foot tall.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
At Easter time, we get those little gardenias in 4-inch
Like
pots, and I'm thinking that might be what she planted.
Yeah,
But
that's amazing.
Which are not supposed to be hardy.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
It's
but
she's doing a great job.
it is. Now, did you call Carolyn?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I spoke to her.
Let me hear all about it.
She says she'll cut her flowers, and put her on her vase, and she smells it. She has it close to her home, so she walks up to her house, she smells it. I mean, it's
Nice.
It's beautiful.
Is it in a protected spot?
It's in a protected spot right next, to the house, so it's not
It
getting
doesn't
any harsh winds or anything like that.
Not like my garbage can.
Not like a garbage can.
That's my protected spot. Might help that I never take out my garbage.
Oh, that's
that
the
often.
problem.
It creates heat. So.
It does.
Anyway,
Oh my goodness.
but the thing is that in our listening area, there are areas that may not be able to do this, like up near, like say Sussex County of New Jersey, and areas of New York State. That and Poconos areas, you may not be able to get a gardenia to grow, but there is a couple of varieties that are hardy called Climbs. That's my favorite, Climbs hardy,
yeah.
and that it's more of a single flower as opposed to a double flower. Now, did she mention double flower or no?
No, she didn't mention
Because that would be the double flower would be like the tip off of
okay.
whether it was from
Hardy.
like an Easter flower or not.
Right.
I encourage you all to try it. Try that
Yeah.
kind of thing. But again, protected spots.
Protected, yes.
Protected spots.
Right.
You need to, Caroline. One thing that I would suggest: feed it with the Fertilome azalea and systemic insect combination, which will it'll prevent insects into spring. It's going to feed it slow, and then right now you want to mulch it with about 4 inches of mulch. That's going to protect the roots. And again, it's all about, like crepe myrtles. We talk about crepe myrtles quite a bit. Yeah. Crepe myrtles in the Philadelphia and some even of the New York suburbs can actually grow because there are hardy varieties. Yeah. But there are some times where we get a shock of really cold weather, and it will kill them down to the ground.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
But they'll resprout, and they'll come back. Now, I hope that doesn't happen with her, but if she puts the mulch down, that will help.
That'll help her.
What was our first segment about, Julio?
The first segment was about watering.
Very good. And watering to make sure that there's lots of moisture in the roots, and then applying
Fertile. Well, we'll prove at the end, yeah.
Right. So one thing is applying onto your, because again, she's going to have leaves on that plant. And applying a wilt proof on there will, again, it's an anti-transparent. Don't we sound smart?
Yeah. Right.
Encapsulates the leaf so that it doesn't allow moisture to evaporate from the leaf surface.
That's right. We always call it chapstick, right?
Chapstick for your plants.
That's right.
That's right. We're going to get sued someday. Anyway, that, again, wilt-proof chapstick for your plants. And what it does is it's amazing. All of your broad-leafed evergreens certainly should get it. Make sure you follow the directions. Look on the back because there are some plants that it doesn't do well on. Like, for instance, arborvitae it doesn't do well on.
Yeah.
But that will help to ensure the fact that, again, it's going to be another step. She's got it in a protected spot. She's going to have the moisture in the soil, and that she's going to have an fertilizer and insect control, slow release, so that it gets any overwintering insects off of it. But she asked, what about time to trim it, right?
Trim it, yes.
3 foot's big.
Oh, yeah. 3 foot is big.
I mean,
Yeah,
good job.
Way up
Good
there.
job, Carolyn.
wow.
But
She's amazing.
only trim it. This is a simple rule to follow.
Yes.
After it blooms.
Right.
When it's done blooming, cut it back. And again, we're talking
Give it
about that
shape.
initial bang. It's beautiful. It looks incredible. Look how good it is. Those flowers fall off. Go ahead and cut it back. And that if you're lucky enough, you may get other flowers.
Yeah.
So, anything to add, Julio?
Oh, I was going to say, if she can't find furlough, she can also use hollytone.
Hollytone, right. And hollytone is a straight fertilizer. Right. But what I'm wanted to do is if she can find like a drench of a systemic drench to use that while it's still available.
Right.
Because it's being taken off the market.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, that's another show.
Yep.
All right. We'll be right back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomers Home and Garden Center is dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds. We carry a flock of feeders like the Brome Squirrel-Proof Feeder, which has a lifetime guarantee. Brome makes fantastic feeders for frustrating squirrels and feeding songbirds. Bloomers Bird Sanctuary has a vast selection of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. We carry Lyric, Coles, C&S, Pine Tree Farms, and our own line called Bloomers Blend. Bloomers Blend Songbird Magnet contains premium black oil sunflower, peanut splits, millet, safflower, and tree nuts. It's sure to attract the most colorful songbirds to your yard. Bloomers Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County, New Jersey. Visit us online at www.bloomers.com. When you come in, ask for Shirley Spurbeck, Bloomers Wild Bird Specialist. Mention you heard it on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, and we'll give you $10 off a 20-pound bag of Bloomers Blend Songbird Magnet Mix.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len. He's Julio. And you don't see him unless you look at our YouTube channel.
That's right.
And you'll see Aaron every once in a while.
Hey,
yeah,
go,
please
Aaron.
subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you. You'll see what we look like. Handsome devil, Julio.
Thank you, Len.
Hey, Harold, who is a veteran listener from Staten Island, who also is a carnivorous plant enthusiast. I guess that's what you call him.
Yep.
Feed me Seymour. Had a question about his arborvitae hedge. Listen to his call.
Hi, Len and Julio. Harold Kozak, Staten Island. I have a problem maybe you can help me with. It occurs every winter. I have very, very large arborvitaes lining my whole backyard. They're almost 40 feet high.
Wow.
The problem is they're doing very well, but I always have a problem when there's a big, heavy, wet snow and those branches just way down. And in the past, I've been able to, with a broom, knock some of that snow off. But these arborvitaes are growing so tall now. Is there anything I can do to alleviate that heavy snow falling on those branches before the snow actually falls? I'd appreciate that. Also, by the way, one quick thing. I was in the library reading a book on carnivorous plants, and I read a section about Charles Darwin. And it was very interesting. I just wanted to pass it along to you guys. I don't know if you realize this or not, but when these carnivorous plants, sundews and Venus flytraps and pitcher plants, send up the flower stalk, it's always so much higher than the pitchers and the traps. And according to Darwin, the reason for that is because these plants need these bees to pollinate, help them pollinate, but they don't want them to get caught inside the traps because they're doing them a favor. I kind of was amused by that, and it was kind of an interesting fact, so I just thought I'd pass it along to you. Anyway, thanks, guys, and see you in the garden.
See you in the garden.
All right. Our buddy Harold over there, he's having a good time.
So did they evolve? Or did the carnivorous plants were designed that way?
I think they're designed.
It's intelligent design for sure.
Intelligent design, yeah.
Yeah. How come they didn't die out if they didn't have that to begin with?
You asking me all these questions that are deep.
Hey, why do bad things happen to good people?
Oh,
Julio?
well, there is a book out there.
That's a different show.
That's right.
All right, Harold, thank you for calling. Concerning your arborvitae hedge in the winter when you get the snow, go to Florida. Basically, there's nothing you can do. Right. If you start messing with them, and you said you knocked it off with a broom, and it's like, it's okay. But what happens is that they bend down, and usually if you've ever noticed, rain comes when we get a cold front in the summer, okay? Snow comes in the winter when we get a cold front. And generally, right after a snow, we get pretty cold weather. Yeah. And that those branches are kind of frozen and they're stiff. Not going to bounce back up.
They're not.
You just let nature, by intelligent design. Send your hate mail to Julio Zamora, care of Bloomers in the Garden. And that where they'll just bounce back. And if they don't, and wait till springtime, and then if you've got to take some of those branches, about 40 foot, they're enormous. They're enormous. They're
doing well.
They are doing really well. really well. So whatever you're doing is working.
That's right.
But again, you'll probably get some shedding, and my guess is they're probably nigras that are getting that big. Maybe.
Wow.
I doubt it. I mean, I doubt emerald greens.
No.
Maybe.
I
don't. I mean, they're only supposed to be about 15 to 20.
That's right.
But again, just don't whack the plants trying to get the snow off. It's not helping. It's not helping. All right.
You can hurt them.
All of you out there,
Don't
and I
beat
know
up on
a
your-
lot of people get this issue.
That's right. You're beating up on his arbor, right?
Yeah, just leave them alone. Leave them alone. Pretend they're not there.
Yeah.
And that's honestly the best thing, in that it's been a problem with arborvitae and other plants too. It'll happen. They'll go back, and any branches that are hitting the ground,
Just cut them off.
just cut them in the spring, and the new growth will hide that bare spot. It may look crummy in the beginning because there's a big hole, but what'll happen is it'll let more sunlight in, and we talked about this when we did our leaf show, where the sunlight will come in, and that now there'll be a place and a spot for new growth to fill in, and that's what will happen. So they'll be okay.
Yeah,
they'll be okay, but just don't whack because you're doing more damage than you're doing
That's
good.
right.
All right, Harold, it's good to hear from you again.
Yeah, it is, Harold.
All right,
Yep.
we'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. You know, some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Organic Potting Soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is available at these local retailers.
Sickles Market, Little River, New Jersey. Espen Shades Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Fleetwood, Pennsylvania. Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. Well, we have another caller. Her name is Ann, and she called the hotline and asked about when to prune her dogwood. Listen to what Ann has to say.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ann Brockman, and I live in Morris Plains, New Jersey. And I was just wondering when the best time to prune a dogwood tree. Thank you.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah. Aaron and I know where that is.
Yeah?
Do you know where Morris Plains is?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's in North Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Oh, boy.
And leave them alone. Leave them alone, because right now, we talked a little bit about it in the first segment about watering, that your dogwoods have set bud. So they're set their flowers for next year. If you look at those dogwoods, if you see the little knobs on the ends of the branches, those are your flowers.
That's it.
Those are your flowers. So don't cut them back now. Mm-hmm. If you have a branch, like I don't mean to talk badly about my neighbor. I got a neighbor.
Oh, yeah?
I got a neighbor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Your plants are overgrowing my fence. Look, if you've got an issue where you've got to take it down, like something like that, you can cut off that branch. You don't want them having flowers anyway. But if it's just something where you want to like tighten it up right after it blooms, And with dogwoods, there's a couple of kinds, right? There's regular, and we'll go fancy on you, Cornus Florida. Ooh. Pretty smart, huh?
Yes, you are.
Cornus Florida is the standard variety of dogwood, and that flowers first and then gets its leaves. Now there's Cornus Cusa. And Julio, what is fancy about Cornus Cusa besides the name?
It's Japanese.
Korean.
Korean?
Come on, Julio. I gave you a softball pitch that time.
It's an Asian.
What happens is it gets its leaves first, and then it flowers.
It does flowers, yeah.
So either way, if you start trimming that thing back now, you're gonna cut off the flowers for next year. So you don't want to do that. Wait till after they bloom. We always get on landscapers.
They do all that.
When we start talking about billable hours, it's like, hey, we're not cutting the grass as much. Get out there and trim everybody's
everything.
plants
right now.
Yeah, and then we get your calls, and we appreciate them very
Why
much.
did
my hydrangea never blooms. My plants never bloom, and because so many plants on old wood, right? Old wood. And Julio, I'm going to ask you to explain old wood and new wood.
Old wood is when the buds are set from last year.
Okay, so it's the growth that overwinters.
That's correct.
And that many of the plants that we have, and it used to be hydrangeas only, but now they have fancy varieties of hydrangeas and fancy varieties of azaleas that they call them ever blooming.
Ever bloom, yeah.
It's a little bit of a stretch. They repeat bloom, that's for sure. But what happens is that nothing is better than that first bloom cycle that you get on the old wood,
big
right? The old wood. So what they've done is they've been able to basically, by design, Harold, they used to be
intelligent design.
That's right. Where they have gone and taken so that plants will bloom on their new wood. But it's never as spectacular as the original bloom. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Sorry,
Hey.
all you people out there from Proven Winners. You're doing a great job, but again, the repeat bloomers.
It's a little.
They always have a flower on it.
Yeah,
that's better than we used to be able to say.
Yeah, that's right.
So again, don't cut it back, but rather than that, go out to your local garden center and buy a bag of hollytone.
Hollytone, yes.
And you want to feed it. Like we always have been talking about these last few weeks. Even though there are no leaves on the trees, their roots are growing.
Yeah.
And you want to feed them. Hollytone is organic, safe for people, pets, and the planet. And that if you're feeding and watering, that they will be unbelievable in spring. In spring.
Wow.
Again, acid loving. When we say acid loving, like for instance, hollytone is good for all acid loving plants. What the heck does that mean? It just means that the pH is a little lower, that they like it a little bit lower.
Right.
So it will adjust your pH. Azaleas, rhododendrons, hollies, and
camellias.
Ooh, forget about camellias.
Yeah. Oh, they're blooming now.
There's some varieties that are blooming now. Yeah. Have they started?
Yes, they have.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, they're beautiful.
I will be sure to let you know when mine are blooming in January.
Oh, yeah. In the snow.
Next to my garbage cans. And again, those broadleafed evergreens love hollytone.
Oh, they love it.
And surprising, Japanese maples and dogwoods also are acid-loving plants.
Yeah.
And so are Japanese maples. And then again, your needled evergreens like spruce, cedars, cypress, arborvitae, they all like hollytone.
And gardenia.
And gardenias. There you go. That's right. Carolyn, you got that?
Yeah.
All right. We've got Julio's phone going off. Who is it, your brother?
Must be Harold.
Might be. So, anyway, again, feed them. Don't prune them. You got to be really careful about what you're pruning this time of the year. Again, you don't want to eliminate your flowers. So many people, they prune their rhododendrons, their azaleas, their dogwoods, hydrangeas. At this point, let everything pretty much go dormant and then clean them up after their first bloom. Rule of thumb, prune after they bloom. Enough said. Drop the mic. All right, we'll be right back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880, and we'll see you in the garden.
Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or hear us on the radio each weekend. Every Saturday morning, Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley, first at 8 a.m. on Talk 860 WWDB and again at 9 a.m. on AM 800 WTMR. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard through the New York tri-state area on Classic Oldies, 1250 a.m. WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden.
See me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
Me and Julio down by the schoolyard. Lots to learn today.
Oh, a lot.
Lots to learn today. What would you say is the most important thing?
Watering right now.
Watering.
Yep.
Yes, a lot of people bail on watering.
Yeah.
You get it? Yeah, that's a joke. I'll be here all week, folks. Tip your waitresses and your producers.
That's right. Hey, everybody out there, if you're listening to Bloomers in the Garden, you can listen to us anytime. Search for us on your favorite podcasting platform or go to bloomers.com and visit the radio tab.
Hey, and make sure that you go to YouTube. You get to see us.
That's right.
Go to YouTube. We've got all of everything up. Just make sure that you hit that subscribe button. We absolutely appreciate it. Love our fans. Love the folks out there. And again, if you've got questions, please call the hotline.
Yep.
We have the answers, and that will call you back. And that's the way that it works is that you call the hotline, you leave your question, and usually Julio will call you back within a day or so.
Yeah.
You know, it's and it's not immediate, it's not live, but again, it takes care of your questions.
That's right.
So
Yep.
make sure you do that. Anything to add today?
Oh, we just talked about taking care of our landscape right now, and we're still gardening, folks. We're not done yet. Okay?
Right.
We're not done. We're still out there preparing for next year. So
every garden center has got plants on sale. So, we've talked about it before. That maple that you had sticker shock from that was $400 is now $200.
Oh my gosh.
And you can have the best greatest plant on the planet in your yard for half price. And, it'll be it's a good time. It's a good time to landscape. Again, roots. We talked about roots all show.
Yeah,
whether it's fertilizer or whether it's watering, roots are growing even though the tops are not. So everything's happening.
Yep. A lot going on underneath that soil, huh, Len?
Right. There's a lot to go. Like you said, plant your bulbs.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget
tulips,
that.
daffodils,
Oh,
crocus. It's time
right
now. Right now.
Yeah.
Plant your bulbs, and it's like nothing's better than seeing them in the spring.
Yeah, you got that.
I know, that's what I love. All right. We have a standing producer. Thank you, TJ.
Thank you, TJ.
All right. We appreciate it. Great job. Great job today. All right. Excellent. We'll see you right here, same time, next week in the garden.
See you in the garden.